Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move into a special segment titled Me-rantau, a Banjar in Kampung Gelam. May I invite Faizah Jamal, former nominated Member of Parliament and co-founder of Alunan Kampung Gelam, to come on stage. Alunan Kampung Gelam, Stories and Songs is a music collective initiated in 2023 by Faizah and her musician daughters Azura and Almira. Third and fourth generation residents of the historic district of Kampung Gelam, Alunan Kampung Gelam considers it their responsibility to promote the stories and the music legacy of their beloved neighborhood. Inspired by Ahmad Jamal, a diamond merchant and baritone singer who used to sing with Radio Malaya in the 50s and 60s, Alunan Kampung Gelam's repertoire is an eclectic mix of opera, classical music, Irish, Scottish folk music, and vintage and traditional songs. For Hari Mas today, they are specially joined by violinist friend Thaddeus Chong from the Yong Siu To Conservatory. Without further ado, let's put our hands together for Alunan Kampung Gelam. Please enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just while we finish tuning and setting up, we want to make sure everybody has a copy of the printout that contains the translations to the lyrics that we'll be singing, not just for this segment, but for our longer segment later on. If you don't have one, please share with your neighbor, perhaps.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for that really warm welcome. Mr. Faishal, Mr. Ronnie Tan, President of GSS, ladies and gentlemen, what do you do when you, probably from the womb, already know where you come from, that you're Banjar, and that your family are diamond merchants coming all the way from Martapura in South Kalimantan in Borneo? What do you do when very few people know about your community, or that for 4 generations we have been living in Kampung Gelam, in the same house that I was born in, that my dad was born in, that my grandfather and his brothers used as a base to expand their diamond merchant trading 100 years ago, coming all the way, like I said, from Martapura to Singapore, from Borneo, the bigger island, in the spirit of Me-rantau. If you're like me, you tell your own stories, of course. So for the last 22 years, I have been doing walks of Kampung Gelam from what I call the Kampung Kepo perspective, not the academic, not the tour guide, but from the perspective of lived experiences of somebody who's been there and still living there. Literally my grandmother's stories lah. My name is Faizah Jamal, and I'm a third generation resident of Kampung Gelam. And together with my 2 children, Azura and Almira, we're still living, like I said, in that very same house where it all began for us. Kampung Gelam, when I grew up, was a place that was extremely diverse, not just within the Malay community, but basically among many other races as well. In the Kampung Gelam that I know today is extremely commodified and gentrified. And so there is that challenge of continuing to tell my stories in a way that is meaningful to people, and yet at the same time, how do we make it connect to people who live in a very different time today? In fact, with the passing of the elders of my Kampung Gelam community, I am literally the last of my generation to have actually known what it's like to be living in a Kampung Gelam that was once upon a time a strong, close-knit community where everybody knew everybody and relationships went beyond the transactional. That community is long gone. They had to make way for development. The development that you see today. Some things good, some things maybe not so good. So I can moan and I can groan about the loss of my community that I knew and loved. I can moan and lament the displacement, the disappearance and the destruction of the people that I knew and who have been my neighbors. Oh, I can do something about it. I choose to do both. I choose to moan, I also choose to create. Through community, to connection, to continuity. Next slide, please. So, the diamond merchant industry, or rather the diamond merchant family of Kampung Gelam. Very few people know about us. Lucky for me, there is a book actually in the National Library which actually shows 2 women who are actually from one of the oldest floating markets in Southeast Asia, probably older even than that floating market you see in Bangkok. This has been like about 400 years old in a place called Lok Ba Intan, which I had a chance to visit some years ago with my mom in her last visit home. Those are our family heirloom that we still have today in our house, and those were things that we sell. Banjar people don't sell food, we just sell useless things like diamonds that you can't eat, unfortunately. But as you can see, I don't wear them at all because to me, I'm an outdoor person. To me, the diamonds are in the sky, not on the body, you know? Yeah. So now, incidentally, what I would like to share with you, everybody's showing their ethnic communities' sartorial heritage. So we'd like to do the same. You'll see that we're wearing this interesting looking textile. Would the musician like to stand up, please? So what this is, okay, we don't want to be rude, but I thought we could turn around and just show it to you. This is called kain sasirangan, and it's a textile that you can only find in South Kalimantan. Not even, never mind Singapore lah, okay? Not even in Indonesia can you find kain sasirangan. Thank you. So now in part 2 of this segment that you're going to hear later on, I want to pay tribute not just to my story as a Banjar, because as you know, we are just a tiny layer of Kampung Glam. There are many, many, many other layers. And I want to pay tribute to the community that I knew and loved, and I would like that community to be again. It doesn't have to be people who are living in Kampung Glam. It can be every one of you in here who can make a community anywhere that you go, but most of all in Kampung Glam, because that's a very special place, not just for me, but for most of us in this room, I'm sure. So we will pay homage to them through various songs that we'll be playing. So ladies and gentlemen, I consider what I do and the work that my children and I do, in fact, all of you in this room, in your search for ancestry, in your search for knowing who you are and where you come from, I consider this extremely sacred spiritual work. So what you heard just now is actually the musicians playing a medley of two songs from Borneo, one from north, one from south, and the southern one is the song that we are connected to directly, the Banjar song from South Kalimantan. And typically we always start, we as in Alunan Kampung Glam, when we have our events, we always start with a song or the music of Borneo, because I feel and we feel that it grounds us, it keeps us connected to where we come from, who we are, so that we know where we are going. So now, in keeping with that tradition of doing songs and stories, maybe we can go to the last slide, where I will tell you what this is about. Not this one, the one on the, oh, have you got it? It doesn't matter. We already start also with something that is extremely meaningful to me. Because this is to honor the ancestors, we begin also with something that we ask for the prayers and blessings of those who have come before, because without them, we will not be here. So this is Alunan Kampung Glam once again. This is Alunan Kampung Glam once again with a song that I grew up with in the 50s, the song from the 50s, I didn't grow up in the 50s, the song from the 50s called Doa dan Restumu, Prayers and Blessings. May all of us be worthy of carrying on the stories and the songs of our ancestors. Thank you very much for now.
Doa dan restumu kini ku nantikan, penuh rasa kasih nan murni. Doa dan cintamu cahaya hidupku, pelita biduk ketepian. Terkatung gelisah, gelombang menderai, belai kasihmu tak kunjung ku rasakan. Doa dan restumu harapan abadi, siang malam rinduku nanti. Terkatung gelisah, gelombang menderai, belai kasihmu tak kunjung ku rasakan. Doa dan restumu harapan abadi, siang malam rinduku nanti.
Thank you, Alunan Kampung Gelam, for that meaningful and very moving segment. Please join me once again in showing our appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister will now be taking his leave. Right? So may I please invite everyone to join me in thanking Minister for gracing Hari Mas today. Thank you, Minister. As Minister takes his leave, we will now slowly proceed for our second panel discussion titled Cultural Highlights in the Search for One's Ancestry.